When you're watching Shang-Chi, listen, I didn't think that a Marvel movie could surprise me anymore. I didn't think that there was anything that I had seen or had watched that was going to like excite me or be like, "Whoa, that's crazy, that's different, that's wild," you know what I mean? But this movie did it. This movie was 100% that movie capable of just surprising me, going in a new direction in a way that I never ever expected the Marvel movies to go in. When I first watched this movie, I didn't know anything about Shang-Chi, all right? I knew he fought on a bus and that was it. That was the full scope of my understanding of the character, is that he's a martial arts fighter and he was fighting on a bus. Like that's what the trailer showed or whatever. I didn't know nothing about no mystical place or land of Ta Lo, and I didn't know anything about like other dimensions and stuff like that. Like I had no idea. So I went to this movie completely clueless, but I'll be honest, I was a bit skeptical at first, all right? I didn't know what this movie was going to be about. I was like, I don't know. I wasn't all that convinced by the main actor, Simu Liu. You know what I mean? Like I just didn't know, you know, and perhaps that's my own fault for not really making it or giving it more of a chance than it deserved. But at the time, I was just kind of like, you know what? It's nothing I know and I don't understand it. So maybe I just kind of like backed away from it, or I wasn't as interested in learning about it. So now I can fully say that it was just, this movie was different. And for all the right reasons, they went in a completely new and cool direction. It had the same kind of Marvel feel to it, but with like I just really liked the way that they shot this. It had all the right elements for a great Marvel movie. It had some good humor, the action was really good. The story was heartfelt and it had like a really nice meaning to it, and I feel like they really did a good job with the character of Shang-Chi and making us understand like who he is and how he came up, you know. It doesn't feel like it's going above and beyond, like outside of this world, you know what I mean? Like this is the exact time for them to do something so completely crazy. So something so completely outside of this world, because we have already seen a huge fight with the Avengers and whatnot. You know what I mean? So this is just the exact kind of thing that works. You know, it's the exact kind of thing that I believed in, and that I'm kind of like, yo, this is a great idea. You know what I mean? This is something that is not unbelievable in this world. So I think that they did a great job with this movie, and I'm happy to say that I was pleasantly surprised. And after I left the theater, after the movie ended, I was like, I want to see more of this. Like, the movie ended, and we're just at the beginning. You know what I mean? So, but let me start from the top of it. There was a lot of great creative choices with the Chinese and like cultural aspect that they put into the movie. I think they were very heavily influenced by other martial arts movies, and I forget the dad's name in this movie. Oh my gosh, he was fantastic. I feel like all the actors played their roles to perfection. Everybody did a great job. Even I know people have like some sort of feelings about Aquafina and whatnot, but I thought she was a great character relief. I thought that she did a really fun job at her role. It felt natural and normal, and in a lot of ways, I'll call her Katie because that's her name in the movie. But Katie, right? She is us in the movie, if that makes sense. Is that like, if you're an American citizen, or if you're like somebody who's like a white person, just like a regular whoever, you know what I mean? If you're white, black, or Hispanic, or anything else in between, it's like you're not gonna be able to speak Mandarin or any other languages, you know what I mean? Or understand the cultural significance of that. But they did a really smart thing, which was make her Asian American or Chinese American, and so that way she's like, she's us, but she's not. You know, it'd be a completely different thing if she, like in this movie, she doesn't speak Chinese, though I think she understands it, but like, she can only speak English, so everybody else has to like adjust for her, right? And so they speak in English, and I think that works for the story, and it works to like put her in our place or shoes or whatever. So Tony Leung Chiu Wai is his name. Hopefully I didn't butcher that, but oh my goodness, he did an amazing job as the father. Man, he really put on a performance. Fala Chen, I think, is the mom. Man, she was, oh damn, dude, she was beautiful in this one. She was really something in this one. And I don't know, I thought she definitely did a really great job. The cool thing I like about this story is also the romance aspect of how like the mom and dad fell in love, and how the children are, you know, how Shang-Chi came and Xu Xiaoling, you know what I mean? How their family life changed when their mom died, and how he went back to being like the guy with the 10 rings. I think that the romance aspect between the mom and the dad was really, it built a solid foundation for the rest of the movie and how they were going to move forward, and like the things that collapse their family or mess them up, you know what I mean? And it makes perfect sense for like the man who has everything to fall in love with the woman who is stronger than he is, who is more capable than him, is powerful and capable and stronger than he is, you know what I mean? And then for the woman to like see the man lose constantly, but you know, his persistence and confidence, maybe because of his 10 rings and his wealth and his ability to try and try again. I could definitely see how that might charm a woman, you know what I mean? And that's what makes them a good pair together when they were together. And then obviously his past with the 10 rings is what haunts them and ends up killing his wife from rival gangs and leaders and whatnot. But and that's sad, you know what I mean? That's a real backstory. And I like how they incorporate the mom's Ta Lo heritage into the background, and they push that on us and stuff like that. You know what I mean? It feels like they really did a great job making sure the backstory and all the characters are emotionally linked and connected to each other, you know? And because of that, it feels like everything falls into place perfectly. It feels, even though this is like a 2-hour movie and I want more of a Shang-Chi, like, I want more Shang-Chi movies or like story, but it feels like everything was kind of perfectly fit into this movie, if that makes sense. It doesn't feel like there was anything less that was left out. You know what I mean? There was a little bit of mystery behind the 10 rings, but I kind of like that, having a little bit of mystery, wanting more. I think they did a great job with that. But when it comes to this actual movie, I couldn't... What's the right word? It's like I wanted more, but I couldn't see like what other things they could have added to the movie. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like they got everything in there and it all worked. And the flow of the story and of the characters and their next thing and here and there, it all kind of like, it all blended well. It didn't feel like any time was really wasted, or there weren't things that I was like, they took a little too long with this part. Like, it all felt important, or it all felt like necessary to progress forward. If there was any part that felt like that for me, I would say it would be the when they're locked in the dungeon and they're escaping. It would be like they kind of took a little too long with that. But they were also introducing that new like creature with Trevor and what's his name? Oh my gosh, what's the name of that animal? Jeffrey? No. Morris. Yeah. Like they freaked out And then they immediately like kind of just accepted it. You know what I mean? It's I don't know. I don't know how I would feel about the situation, but I just know that I would like. I mean, I guess if you've never seen a dog before and it popped out, you would be like, "Whoa, what is that?" You know what I mean? But, and anyways, another great part about this movie is they incorporated the 10 rings from Iron Man 3 with Ben Kingsley reprising his role as Trevor Slattery. And I feel like they did that very well. They tied in a past Marvel movie into this Marvel movie, and it all blended well together. It all blended well for that kind of a story to take place, for it all to like. Because the 10 rings have been brought up before as a terrorist organization in Iron Man 3, but they didn't do it the right way like Shang-Chi displays it here. And I liked how he kind of called them out on it. And it was like, but they didn't know who I was. So they took my name, stole my name, and then somebody else played the part as me. And then he locked up Trevor or Ben Kingsley, and then he was kind of like working on a monologue, finding his passion in acting and stuff like that. It's all fun and games, you know what I mean? And I thought that was a great cameo. I thought that was a funny appearance by Ben Kingsley. I'm so glad he decided to be like, yes, I'll come back for this. It's so funny and hilarious that he did that. And throughout the rest of the movie, he plays a good comedic relief as well. And then they have Wong. Wong shows up in this one. Oh my gosh. I thought that was it's probably because of his, I guess, Chinese heritage that they brought him back. But man, it's really great to see that how everything kind of like folds in together. You know what I mean? From obviously this this buildup of storytelling throughout all of these movies, it feels natural to see, like, it's cool to see Wong pop up in the story, you know what I mean? It all fits. It fits together. I just feel like they did a great job with really I mean, obviously there are going to be some nitpicks. Like, I nitpicked about them being in the basement a little too long, but I think they did this movie right. They did this movie like the best way they possibly could. You know what I mean? I don't think that there was anything that they did wrong with this movie. I thought that it was humorous. I like that Katie's like taking joyrides out for a spin and that they hang out and they sing karaoke together. I like the San Francisco vibe as well. I thought that was really cool. I like that they show kind of like the Asian community in the California area. I thought that was really cool. I thought that the family aspect, the sister and him fighting was interesting. I thought that, I don't know, there were so many things that I really enjoyed about what this movie had to offer. But another part about these movies is the fighting and the choreography that they put into it. I like the use of the wind, you know what I mean? Them being able to like have those abilities. I like the use of the 10 rings. Those things are so cool. They're so different from any of the other technology we've basically seen. If I could liken them to anything, it would be the Wakandan tech. But even then, this one is significantly different and has a lot more of a martial arts appeal than, I guess, like getting hit by bullets or like being bulletproof and then being able to, you know, hit it back. You know what I mean? Something like that. It's completely different and it's way. I think that the 10 rings are cooler and they have like a lot more uses out of it. Like, oh my goodness. Anyways, the fighting and the choreography are absolutely great. I love the bus fight. I like I think they're in China. I don't remember where they are. But I don't know the guy's name. It's the one with the mask. You know the mask guy? It's when Shang-Chi and the mask guy fight each other. That's a cool scene. That's great action, good choreography. Obviously, I like the dad versus Shang-Chi. They fight twice, and each time they fight, I feel like there's a new shift in the power dynamic. So when Shang-Chi and his father fight for the first time, or they confront each other in Ta Lo, there's more of a initial confrontation, where Shang-Chi confronts his father and his father confronts him about like their familial issues and the pain that they've both endured by the loss of his mom. And then there's the second confrontation where Shang-Chi kind of feels the beating or the burden of his failures or his messed up family life and all the things that he's went through since he trained with his father and fighting with him, I think is important. And then the second time they fight, this time he's Shang-Chi, this time he's a man and he's standing up for his mom's homeland and what he believes in and standing up to his father. I thought that was a great moment for him to stand up and fight. I also like it might be a little bit like cheesy or kind of like crazy, but I like the idea of the dark dweller or the dweller in darkness. You know what I mean? It's a bit of like a bland name, but I like the idea of it using like some sort of telepathic ability on the dad, on Zhu Wenwu, to have him use the 10 rings to break free the dweller in darkness and stuff. I also like that normal weapons don't work against the enemies or those bat-looking things, you know what I mean? They have to use the dragon scales. And I like... Oh my goodness, there's a lot of things to like. But then I like the fight between Shang-Chi and his father the second time, where Shang-Chi takes control of 5 rings and they fight each other again. It's all just very cool. I can't hate on it. And then what else is there? Oh my goodness, so much about this movie. Okay, so one of the best scenes in the movie for me is when Shang-Chi is kind of like, he's in Ta Lo preparing to fight his father. He's going to come the next day, the next morning. And he's telling Katie more about his backstory. I mean, on the plane ride to China, or wherever, I don't know, I don't remember where it was. Maybe it was Korea. I don't remember exactly, but they're talking to each other, and Shang-Chi's kind of giving Katie his backstory about how his mom died, and then his dad took control of the 10 rings, and then he trained Shang-Chi to be an assassin, and essentially Shang-Chi was assigned a mission by his father to kill the man who killed their mother when he attacked their home. And before he was just a kid, and now he's a teenager. He's 14 years old or whatever, however old he was. And he was assigned the mission to kill the guy. And he told Katie he couldn't go through with it. But in a moment of honesty, Shang-Chi finally tells Katie that he did go through with it. He did kill the guy who killed his mother. And then he went into hiding. He ran away. And I felt like that moment, that scene where he finally acknowledges that, like, I did do it for his mom, for vengeance, for his father, for his love, for putting his skills to the test, and how that guilt of killing somebody or being an assassin or being everything that his father trained him to be scared him and made him, like, run away. Sorry. I feel like that was so human and so real and such a good... I felt like that was such a good moment for them. And it was a good moment of characterization for him as well, is that he's not a clean-cut superhero or anything like that. It's that he's done some dirt, you know what I mean? And it's not of his own choice. I mean, obviously he chose to do it still, but it's understandable, you know, is all I'm saying. But in the end, I feel like in the end it works for his character, and it's not anything that I'm like, oh, he's like partially a bad guy. It's like, no, I think he was young. I think he was trained to fight and to kill. I think that confronting the men or the people responsible for murdering his mom, there's a little bit of like, want of vengeance. I'm not saying I would do it, but I can understand why he would. And I don't know, it also makes sense why he chooses to run away after the fact, And I feel like when presented with the opportunity, you have to confront it. You have to face it. And for him, it was, I'll face it, I'll confront it, and then I'll also do it. But then this is not what my life is going to be. And then the downside of his running away and his killing and his leaving it all behind to start a new life in America was his sister got left behind. And that was a devastating consequence. It was a huge pain in both of their lives and the family when he abandoned his sister, his family, so that way he could get a fresh start, a new chance. And that's the wrong part about it, I feel. If there's anything to like hate him over, it would be for that, I think, more so than actually killing bad people. You know what I mean? People who murdered his mother. But in the end, I feel like he does make amends, or he finds a way to let his sister know that he does care about her, he does love her, and they missed a lot of time together, and he's not going to let her go this time. Not anymore, I feel like that was a really good moment as well. And so let's get to the big stuff here. There is another dimension called Ta Lo, which already blows my mind, with mythical creatures and animals and like beings and whatnot, like just crazy stuff. I mean, that surprised me. I was like, whoa. I like the bamboo forest and the passage and the driving and stuff, like trying to figure out the maze. I like the I love the use of water in this movie. How they bend it and they use it, and how it's colorful but also like manipulated and fun like that. I thought that was cool. And so we meet Michelle Yeoh's character, who's in this movie. Fantastic, by the way. Oh my gosh. It was so cool seeing her on the screen. I thought she also did a great job in teaching Shang-Chi, and Katie learning how to do the bow and arrow, and Xu Xiaoling like finally feeling respected, or feeling like she has a place where she can also train and fight. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. I like the Razor Fist, that actor. I think that's the same actor who plays Ivan. No, Victor. No, what's his name? He plays Drago in Creed. In Creed 2. Like the son of Drago, whoever. Yeah, that guy's crazy. And I like how they put him in the story, and he was like, had this arm and stuff. All that. I thought it was really cool. So anyways, let's get to the big one, all right? The Dweller in Darkness appears, and then who emerges from the ocean but a freaking dragon? A dragon. That was crazy to me. I was like, what? This is a Marvel movie? I was in awe of the dragon showing up. I didn't know there was going to be no dragon. I didn't know there was going to be none of that. I was just kind of flabbergasted at like, this is crazy. You know what I mean? It's like, I could have used that dragon in Avengers Endgame. That was insane. And they brought it out, and it started going crazy on those things. It was just really cool. I for a second thought the dragon was going to die. I'm not going to lie. I thought the dragon was going to die, but Katie came to the rescue. She flew that she pulled that bow and arrow back and then shot her shot like Hawkeye, you know what I mean? Hit that dragon, and then all's well that ends well, you know what I mean? Shang-Chi went after it with the 10 rings. Another great piece of action and choreography. I feel like it was so cool seeing Shang-Chi use the 10 rings for himself, how he like stepped on them and he hanged from them and he was doing like parkour with them and stuff, all to like get it onto the Dark Dweller and destroy it. It was so cool. And then I feel like after what we've seen Shang-Chi do up until this point was the fight on the bus was more so like an obstacle to like, obviously they wanted his pendant, but it was an obstacle to fight him. And then again in Korea or wherever, maybe it was China, but they were fighting each other in the building with the mask guy. And that one was also like, it was an obstacle to like get his sister's pendant back and to fight the guy. But it was also like a bit of emotional buildup and backstory of like, I guess some sort of torment in his training or mistreatment. So that was also like kind of a revenge fight. You know, there's a little bit of emotion behind it is what I'm trying to get at. And then there's the training and then fighting his father for the first time. There was good choreography and fighting in that. And that one was emotional, of an emotional fight. And in that fight, the father won. But then the second time around, Shang-Chi wins. And that was a huge emotional fight and throw into his confronting his father and finally being able to like fight each other and whatnot. And then the last thing is the Dweller in Darkness that his father made appear that he released. And now it's kind of cleaning up his, you know, father's mistakes and messes with the 10 rings on his own. Him being the owner of the 10 rings and finally having like an extra obstacle to overcome in the movie. And it's a big obstacle. And then it's just so cool. It's so awesome. It's badass the way that he was up in the sky and then he pushes the 10 rings down the Dweller in Darkness's throat. And then in its stomach, he has them spin around and then he destroys the Dweller in Darkness with the 10 rings. And then he's falling and then the 10 rings come back to Shang-Chi. And then the dragon, like, as he's falling, the dragon comes over and picks him up and they fly back down together. And I was like, that was insane. I thought that was crazy. That was crazy. And so then the movie wraps up with Wong picking up Shang-Chi and Katie. And now they're part of the circus, as Bruce Banner says. Bruce Banner and Captain Marvel are talking about the 10 rings. And like, as soon as he used them, they got a beacon or a signal of it and stuff like that. It was crazy. So there's more to it. There's some sort of a secret to it. And that is a cool way to end the story or like a cool way to like leave you on a cliffhanger wanting more, but you don't know what you're going to get. You know what I mean? So overall, this movie, Shang-Chi, man, huge surprise to me. It was a really solid first introductory movie. Like, it's as solid can be. I don't feel like they missed any marks with this. You know, I think if you can nitpick it to death. You can nitpick anything to death. But this movie, I thought, it did exactly what it was trying to do and introduced us to the characters and introduced us to what the 10 rings are, how they were founded and like the legend of like the organization and like his father having the rings and whatnot. I thought that the family backstory and the ties and the life that they live and stuff, it all fit well together and everything felt like it made sense to me. It worked, you know? It worked. And I'm missing a lot of other key plot points in this story, but I think that this movie is 100% rewatchable. I think about so many different moments and scenes in this movie that I'm just like, man, I want to rewatch that part. And then when I rewatch that part, I'm like, I might as well just rewatch from the beginning. You know what I mean? It's one of those movies where it's like once you watch one part of it, you're like, well, now I want to watch the rest. You know, it all fits for me. It all makes sense. It's all fun and cool, and I think they nailed it with this one. I really do. And it's definitely the kind of movie that deserves a sequel, but 2021, they haven't really done anything else with Shang-Chi, I guess. So it's a little disappointing that they haven't. This is the kind of movie where it's like they should have came up with a sequel in 2023, but still nothing. So I don't know. I'm really a big fan of this movie. I thought everybody did their jobs and their roles great. I thought that the characters all fit well together. They blended well. I thought that the comedy was good. The fighting, the choreography was good. The story was solid. And then the surprise of the dragon and stuff like that for me, it was crazy. You know, I don't know. I don't know what else to say other than it surprised me in the best way. And I was genuinely impressed by the end of it, and I liked it a lot. I remember very distinctly when the movie ended and they're walking through like Wong's portal, and then you hear Anderson .Paak play that song, Fire in the Sky. Dude, that song was like great. That was great. That was a great song choice. So I thought that was perfect for the way the movie ended, and it all worked well for me. So in the end, we see that Shang-Chi's sister, Xu Xiaoling, takes over the Ten Rings organization for herself, in which she incorporates women into the group. We see Shang-Chi join with Wong, with Katie, and now they're a part of whatever's going to happen with the Ten Rings moving forward. So it's going to be interesting. So overall, I'm really happy and excited with this movie and to see where Shang-Chi goes moving forward. It's going to be exciting. I'm really excited about it, but this movie is so great. I can't have anything. I only have positive things to say about it. I can't think of like anything all that bad. Other than the dad was like being such a dick to his son about how he was a kid and he didn't defend his mom. It's like, what? He was a kid, you know what I mean? But emotions, you know, it just happens that way. But in the end, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, definitely rewatchable. Go watch it. It's a great movie. Fun for the whole family, I think. And yeah, dude, I just want to know more. I want, you know what I mean? I want to go a little. I want to know more about Shang-Chi and his story. So anything that they do moving forward, I'm going to be interested in. So until then, thank you guys so much for listening. I'll talk to you guys all next time. Thank you.